following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness Last Orders, the podcast where we look back into the films our Hallmark favourite actors and directors would rather forget that they were ever involved with. I'm Joe, and with me as always, the king of the big top and proprietor of the world's second best lady circus, Cirque de Mademoiselles, it's James.
Hello! It's my showman entrance.
It was good. Yeah. And he's on the run after escaping from his special shed and forming a crime-solving agency with a mountain lion. It's Planty.
She wasn't a snake, lady. She was a worm woman.
If you want to follow us on Twitter at Hallmark of Greatness, and we are on Instagram and Facebook at Hallmark of Greatness. Also, if you want to pick a film for us to watch that isn't this,
we're bad
send
at
us an
this.
email. We really are. I mean, this was a last-minute one. Mark did pick a good film, but I haven't had time to download it and distribute it. I mean, buy DVDs for everyone.
Yarper!
Yeah. After last week's Lady Barn, we have seen there's been a big upturn in downloads, weirdly. So people really like women being trapped in barns, so we should fully lean into that in the future, I think.
Okay.
You know, that whole genre of films with barn ladies.
Well, if it's man's crimes against women that you're after, then welcome to the film of today.
I would argue this is a crime against humanity.
Let's not hang around then. This week's film.
Please tell me that's the new soundbite.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Just you imitating what it was.
I can't even remember. 1980s Roadie, or The Roadie, starring everyone's favourite loaf. No, not Mighty White, not Hovis. It's Meatloaf. James, please tell me what the fantabulous contraption has come up with this week.
Well, first of all, it's declared that its name is the sleek future contrivance of dread, so we're going to lean into that today. It said, Rosemary Roadie is a local barista who must go and see her nieces play or else Gene Simmons will come back. Things really get going when Rosemary becomes acquainted with Pete Johnson.
Gene Simmons will just come back. He'll just come back and hang around. Just waggling his tongue at you while you're trying to do some ironing.
What are you doing ironing? What's that tongue, Gene? You'll get it scolded.
That's just, go on, sorry.
Things really get going when Rosemary becomes acquainted with Pete Johnson, a man who does something with his hands which shows an artistic side, but not too much, whose main quirk is that horses just really like him. Things really heat up when her reputation as a good Christian is ruined and the pair must work together. Will they secure that log cabin on the edge of a lake in an autumnal, mountainous, isolated part of the world? Don't count on it, sunshine. And there you go. I think the good Christian bit is interesting because we haven't really had that. I think we've had one film in the Hallmark, the regular series, where it's been overtly Christian.
Yeah,
they try the house and that woman couldn't work a hammer.
Yes, they try and not layer it on so thick anymore because there is might not be Hallmark, but there is another company that do very, very right on Christian sort of Hallmark film, but Hallmark tend to just be a bit like they had a gay couple last Christmas, you know. You got to move with the times. One.
Was that them? I thought that was Netflix.
No, I'm fairly sure. Oh wait, yeah, no, I'm sure it was. I think it was two men as well.
I remember seeing a Christmas film too, man. Yeah, I thought it doesn't matter anyway.
I mean, there's more than one Christmas film, but specifically a Hallmark one. I'm fairly sure.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was. I'm have to find it.
Progressive of them,
and do it for this year anyway, because that was the sleek future device of whatever's thingy. But the actual synopsis for Roadie. A young Texas good old boy has a knack with electronic equipment, and that talent gets him a job as a roadie with a raucous travelling rock and roll show. That's lies, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. He's just a man that shifts some stuff. He's a man that drives equipment from town to town.
And suffers a lot of blunt force trauma to the head. Yeah. Which apparently makes him function better than...
Well, he's from Texas, so you know.
No, he's good with, rigging things together. because like he powers a concert with horse poo and fixes Alice Cooper's by like putting a load of potatoes in a bin. It was very strange, but
it was
mean,
very strange.
it was all very strange.
I'm just going to point out this is the second oldest film we've ever seen, and actually this is the first comedy that we've ever seen. We've had things that have been funny by mistake plenty of times, but I think it was a weird dynamic actually that it was supposed to be a comedy. There you are.
But it was very. I think I texted you both and said like this has all the things that are there to make it a cult film, but it just falls short.
Yeah,
like nothing happens in it. It's like someone overheard someone talking about the Blues Brothers and then went to watch Convoy and got confused.
It's almost like somebody decided to write a second Blues Brothers film and put it into an AI, which then created this, which is still arguably better than that second Blues Brothers
2000. Yeah, there's no annoying
Blues
child.
Brothers 2000. Yeah.
Oh, it's bad. I was so excited for that.
I would have liked it if Meatloaf lived in the boot of the car in this,
like
it's
Spanky or whatever he was called.
It's weird. There must have been some sort of like fad for that because this came out the same year as the Blues Brothers. So
what happened was they saw how good the Blues Brothers was in like pre-production, and they went, "We're having some of that."
Yeah.
Also the only comedy routine I know is Benny Hill. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are.
Also, everyone in 1980, massive nonce, like nonce levels through the roof.
That did absolutely collapse this film.
Yeah. So anyway, let's wane into this fetid swamp that is 1980s Roadie. We open with armadillos on a road, so we know we're in Texas. It's not the worst opening we've ever seen.
I love armadillos. My favourite animal.
Okay.
There you go.
Any reason? Is it always because they look a bit sad? They always look like they've told you a joke and they're waiting for you to laugh.
They just come from, they're just fresh from that Clash video. It's the first Ace music soundtrack we've ever had. It was all right. I didn't much care for the vocals, but, it was sort of like a thumping rhythm section and everything. It's called Everything Works If You Let It by Cheap Trick.
I did make a note here, not Meatloaf.
No.
Right?
And the only song Meatloaf sings is no, yes, no, yes.
I held on for 105 minutes for a fucking Meatloaf song.
You ain't getting it, sunshine.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What I did notice was when the film started, it was a Metro Goldwyn Mayer lion. Where the fuck was he last week in the Terror Circus?
But I think, wasn't this after Meatloaf had throat surgery?
Oh, I don't know.
I think someone was telling me this today at work when I mentioned that we'd watched Roadie. He says, I think this was after Meatloaf, and this was like his sort of comeback sort of thing. Or he couldn't properly sing, and so they were putting him in shit just to keep him in like the public eye.
That would have made sense because there's been quite a lot of like commentary on. There's not been loads of commentary, but there's been commentary on this. Like, he's got this forceful personality and stage persona, and they don't use it.
No, in this, he just comes across like a dickhead, to be honest. But there's also opening credits. Everyone is in this film. Literally. We get Art Carney, Blondie, Roy Orbison, like Jesus.
I love the bit where Roy Orbison shows up, but I'll say...
Roy Orbison looking like if you ordered Elvis off Wish. Yeah. Oh, dear.
Which I have.
Also, it was written by someone called Big Boy Medlin.
Yes! All right, okay. So Big Boy Medlin came up with the concept for this in that I think he wrote like a regular comic series in a paper or something. And
what?
This person, Travis, was his character. And with a name like Big Boy, what was it?
Medlin.
Medlin in what?
Oh, Medlin.
Just meddles with the big boys.
I think it's probably based on him in some Mary Sue-like way. I don't know.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
It's got like 3 other writer credits, and it didn't deserve that.
Yeah, it's a big old cosmic gumbo of shite. And then my first note after that is, what the fuck is happening?
So, Art Carney, I'd written here, non-union Martin Sheen, and some woman cosplaying as Luigi's Mansion.
Oh no, that's Alice Pooh! Apparently.
Yeah, just one character is surnamed, middle name Pooh.
Hey Mario, get down here now!
He's hung himself in Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, no.
I was massively lost in all of this.
Yeah, he's on he's fallen asleep with a cigar in his mouth with a load of Grandad from Only Fools and Horses televisions round him. Right? He's got a train that goes around with cigars and an oxygen tank on it.
I quite like that souped-up armchair as well. That was quite
He's got
good.
like a Captain White style armchair though that's got like beer on it and like wind chimes and just shit. And I think I get it now.
What?
Like Travis Redfish, he's like an inventor, isn't he?
Yeah.
So all this stuff is stuff he's made to make his life better.
Yeah.
Right.
At one point, he's on the phone to his dad, and his dad's like, "Oh, you should do this. Harness the power of bullshit or something."
And
it's like they're an inventive family. I guess.
It's basically Texas's answer to Wallace and Gromit House. Cracking grits, Gromit.
Apparently, the external of the house is the same house used for Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
And it looks it, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, is that still there, do you reckon?
Possibly.
Probably.
I know someone...
Americans tend to hang on to even like the recent past stuff.
That's true.
Yeah.
No,
It's
someone
the only
found,
pass they've got.
they found someone accidentally drove past Napoleon Dynamite's house.
Yeah.
And it's just like abandoned now. But yeah, because that's in the middle of nowhere as well. But yeah, Alice Pooh, Jesus Christ, hoovers her dad clean, which again, weird. And then, what was he called?
BB.
Yeah.
BB, who comes in and she tries to suck him off with the hoover. Hilarity ensues.
I saw all of this in German because I got that link that you sent me. And then it didn't work on mine, so I just found another version on YouTube, and it was like, "Get it fast, and I was like, "Is it supposed to be like this?"
Better film in German, arguably.
I would think so. Like the weather
Meatloaf?
girl on TV starts out by saying, "Excuse me for being down there on the floor," and all of the dialogue is just like that. It's like
no, but that's the actual dialogue in the film. That's what she said in our version.
Yep.
It's just like
it feels like they got bits of like airplane cut-offs and like Naked Gun bits and just put those in for that because that's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just too many bits.
So he calls his son Travis downstairs, and lo and behold, Meatloaf descends from on high on like a trapeze of some kind, possibly too fat to come downstairs because he's a big lad in this, isn't he?
It's like.
He's eating all the redfish. There's none left.
Is this bit where they're in the van delivering beer, which I don't know where the beer comes from. Are they meant to be the brewers too?
No. I've looked it up.
They would Redfish and Son. If you can mend it?
Oh, if it works, if it can work if you let it or something.
Yeah, you can get it if you really want. Jimmy Cliff. So they're like mechanics, but he delivers beer on the side with his mate. I think that's the skinny. Before he leaves, he fixes his dad's remote control, and all the tellies come on, and one of the shows behind his dad is called Kama Sutra. So, make of that what you will. Then they're driving
there
along.
are a few interesting choices in the background, as I've noted a bit later on. But,
This line says, "I can dance like John Travolta."
Yeah.
Like who?
I know, it's just, there's loads of that. I didn't even bother writing it down because it's just incessant garbage.
Yeah, but we get some sexy Meatloaf in a truck dancing. Yeah. Because, again, watching this on 1.5 speed, it's quite funny. So, anyway, they're driving along in this truck, and they pass a Winnebago that is pulled over at the side of the road, obviously in distress, and they laugh and laugh at the thought of helping anyone else.
He spots a woman, doesn't he?
The only reason he stops is because he spots this child hanging out the back window, winking at him.
He does an emergency stop for that.
Yeah. Meatloaf's horny for children.
Underage, yeah.
No one should be associated with this film.
Yeah.
Even though, like, the lady wasn't 16, which she claims to be later on.
25, the actress.
25, yeah.
They still portrayed her as a child, which I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like...
we don't know that
bit in Leon, isn't it? It's just like...
She was
only
only
a fucking
16.
child in that.
She's got the perm of someone 30 years above her age, though, so, you know.
But there's this like they're going to see Alice Cooper. She wants to meet Alice Cooper, and she's got a.
While they're carrying Hank William Jr.'s equipment, and I'm like, what?
Who are these people? But her line is, Her line's brilliant. You never heard of Alice Cooper? Don't you read T-shirts? I'll give you that one.
There's a couple of very good lines in it, I will say, actually. The laundrette made me chuckle.
Yeah.
There's some like sweet ass Santana music every time he speaks to her in like the first act. If indeed it does have an act.
They claim that the alternator or something is broken, and he fixes it with like some stones and
her leg.
He asks for a nail file. This Lola Bouillabaisse, fucking hell, that's her name, by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Bouillabaisse, inventor of the Bouillabaisse millions. The stock, they invented stocks and shares.
Oh, very good.
She gets out in like a red swimming costume thing, and to hand him this nail file, and bends over, and the camera like pans in on her ass, and I'm like, I don't like this. This feels wrong. And then they're all perving on her, and I'm like, oh, okay. Her and Redfish have a heart-to-heart under this thing, and he fixes the truck, and then they're like, can you drive us there? Why? How have you got this far without a driver?
Yeah, there's another guy in there who's later known as Ace, but I just put him down as Hawaii Shirt McGee, and he's sort of like really pushing for that. She pleads with him and says something like, I've got 20 different ways of saying please, and then just says please over and over again.
Yeah, not even in like Chinese or French or anything. Yeah, there's a lot of that, because I think he says, what's he called? The man who's running the tour. Says she has 30 ways to thank you afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Christ. Are you whoring out a child for a taxi driver? This is anyway. Meatloaf decides to we're going to call him Meatloaf because he is Meatloaf. I respect how Meatloaf was raised. Like they just found him in the wild one day. He decides he's going to drive the truck and Hank William Jr.'s equipment.
It's his equipment, because I kept expecting him to turn up then and there. He doesn't.
No.
But there is somebody called Bird, who is a very lackluster character.
Yeah, I don't know what he's for. There's also a guy that's got like metal wings on the side of his cap.
Oh, yeah, I kept seeing him. Don't know what his name was.
I don't know what his name was. Doesn't do anything. But he drives, him and BB agrees to finish the beer on his own, and then he'll pick him up at the gig, and then they'll drive home together. He gets there, they drive there, and we get all this, I'm going to meet Alice Cooper sort of nonsense. Alice Cooper, who's she?
No.
Yeah, Billie Holiday, I love her. He gets there, and then people immediately, as soon as this Winnebago pulls in, it's like zombies. Like they're at the windows of it.
10 people protesting the fact that they're 2 hours late.
2 hours late. So they go to Meatloaf. Oh, you need to help set up now. And he's like, what the fuck am I your skivvy? Am I? And they go, yeah. And he goes, okay.
The line is...
That's pretty much this film, isn't it? It's just that over and over again.
You've got 10 minutes, precisely 10 minutes, or I'll rape your career.
Oh,
that was it.
Hell, that was...
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Line. So this is Mohammed Johnson, the great promoter. He's sort of based on Don King.
Is he?
He's supposed to be...
The rape part, yes.
Well,
allegedly
based on that character.
No, he's dead. I don't think he's going to sue you.
I don't want the King estate coming.
Oh, he's been dead about 10 years.
Oh, okay. I mean,
good and fucking good.
Yeah.
What do I care? But he was on Celebrity Deathmatch though. But
yeah. So they've pulled into Bob's Country Bunker.
Yeah, I've also got that. Yeah, very good.
Genuinely thought it was, because the stage and the thingy look very similar to that, and I'm like, are they just using old sets? Like when the Blues Brothers finished filming, they snuck on and filmed this dog shit in between.
You look pretty damn stupid trying to eat meatloaf with no fucking teeth.
He manages to set up this entire backline, I'm assuming drum kit and everything, in 10 minutes, which is impossible.
Yeah.
Also, the drummer would come on and then fuck about with the drum kit for another half an hour. Because drummers are ball bags like that. Hank Williams Jr. and his backing band, the good old Not Allowed Near Schools boys.
Or school boys, even.
Because, they come on and play some tunes. And everyone's
Lola
having
dances on her own to Outlaw Woman.
Which is the saddest thing I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and that's to the backing of country music, which is the saddest genre that's ever been.
We got both kinds here. We got country and western. Yeah, but she's just spinning like a top, and everyone else is just getting leathered and thinking, I'm going to have sex with my truck later.
Yeah.
We've all been there. Roy Orbison is also there for some reason, looking the most baffled I have ever seen the man.
How
He's
can you
flanked
tell?
by two
He's got
goons.
fucking glasses on.
Now,
He's flanked by two Orbison goons, who I think were there
basically
on purpose.
carry him in and carry him out. It's like it's like C-3PO on Endor.
Oh, come on, he was in the last decade of his life.
I know, but I imagine he was just off his tits, and they went, Roy, you're in a film today. And he just went, just drag me in and out. I don't give a fuck, mate.
I got a bit of a true story.
Probably very close to the truth, yeah.
A true story I've never admitted on any other podcast for you now, lads. Roy Orbison, he of the big shades. I was certain until I was about 24 that because he wore shades all the time, Roy Orbison was blind. I was always adamant that was the case, in spite of the fact that he sang I Drove All Night, which he wouldn't be allowed to do if he was blind, of course.
I was driven all night.
I was carried off this set all night.
Have you met the goons?
Goons?
Yeah. She goes over and gets kissed by Roy Orbison, which I imagine. Yeah, or someone gets kissed by Roy Orbison, which I imagine is just like a dementor coming at you. And then I think Lola knocks over someone's drink.
Yeah, that's right.
The woman turns round and goes, "It's okay," and then goes to chin her, but she ducks, hits another woman in a very Little House on the Prairie type, like, pinafore dress thing. And then a bar brawl breaks out, but it's all women, and all the men, like, basically start wanking. Some guy gets a load of money out, starts taking bets on it, and, like, a waitress in a white t-shirt gets 2 pictures of beer spilt on her. Yeah,
I'd ignored all of this. I was just thinking, I hope Roy Orbison just wades into this fight and starts brawling. But no, they didn't do that.
You'd have to whiz his dog round, wouldn't it?
But this is where Meatloaf gets a job transporting equipment from now on, in spite of the fact that he was 2 hours late to his first ever transporting equipment job. And the line is, he's got the biggest damn neck in the Southwest. And I've written, Cornish, is he?
He's got a big neck, but as we'll find out later on, tiny fucking feet. Yeah. Yes. He's like a Clefairy.
I'm glad you said that because I didn't note it down. But I did think that.
Yeah. So anyway, this fight breaks out, and the only way they can calm the rowdy Texan women
his little feet, sorry.
is by Hank Williams Jr. and Roy Orbison teaming up to sing some song about Texas.
The Eyes of Texas.
It's like the eyes of Marge. The eyes of a fucking potato. They get on stage. Meatloaf takes his hat off, and it's like, it's the patriotic song of Texas. But I thought that was like Yellow Rose of Texas. Or...
I think they just made it up. I don't know.
Possibly. But it seemed like a country standard.
Audience
if you're in Texas,
if you've survived this long.
Yeah, if you're not getting guns and a plane ticket. This happens. Everyone calms down. Everyone's like, "Thanks, Roy," and they just drag him out like Weekend at fucking Bernie's. But some other cowboy guy has taken umbrage to Meatloaf and challenges him to a fight/charging contest.
Yeah, it's like that bit in The Simpsons where they put saucepans on their head.
Because they're both like pawing at the ground and
like a bull, yeah.
Yeah, and it cuts to Meatloaf, and he's got little tiny feet, like that Green Witch from Warner Brothers. Like they're just so small.
Is that the bit you mean? Because I mean the bit later on where he's sort of like twiddling his legs when he's sat up high on the scaffold.
Oh well, I mean his feet haven't grown bigger. See, later on in the film, he wasn't like, you know what, I need bigger feet. Get me some clown shoes, mate. No, here he pawed at the ground, but he's got like little like Homer Simpson feet, and he paws at the ground. They both run at each other, bang their heads into each other. Like the other guy falls over. Meatloaf's declared the winner of this traditional Texas battle. No wonder they lost the fucking Alamo.
I mean, there were chupacabras there, mate.
There was chupacabras. And he's clearly concussed at this point. Muhammad Johnson's like, "You've got to get us to the airport now because fuck you. Well, you do what I tell you." He sits down with BB, drinks like a whole pitcher of beer. Lola drags him to a limousine where he's, for some reason, now chased by the police.
Well, yeah, he sort of like goes, "Wah!" and starts driving really fast. He's got like concussion or something. He's also drank a fuck ton of beer. So he just starts driving really, really fast.
And this is where they go through the mall, and Frank Ozzy's asking if they got Miss Piggy. Yeah.
Do you have Miss Piggy? New Oldsmobiles ran early this year.
I've put that he goes like a bat out of hell.
Nice!
Not proud of
That's
it.
the one.
Not proud of it. He's also told at this point that he is a roadie, and I've put, name of film. Wah, wah, wah.
Double!
Yeah. Cops and chase. There's this whole Benny Hill routine through the streets.
Yeah, I've got this. Feels like it wants to be
good.
the Blues Brothers, but they didn't have the budget.
Yeah.
They wreck, I think, 2 cop cars.
Yeah, one of them randomly drives into another car and just bursts into flame. I was like, how? How does that
a
happen?
whole long sequence where this drunk man drives the car that's for sale, gets out of the car, locks up the car, checks his watch, has a bit of a smoke, gets out his lotto tickets and everything, wanders off, and then a cop car crashes into him.
He had so much time to get out of the way. That had very big, was it Answered by Ice Johnson sort of vibes? They drive into this airport, and it's like a fucking heist film. They drive up the ramp of the plane, and the police just drive straight past. The plane drives off, and Meatloaf is pissed up and horny. So he decides to open the plane door and stare out of it.
I think you put he was horny because he was just making...
Yeah, well, I imagine Meatloaf was permanently horny. He's just got that look about him. Like Michael Portillo.
He's horny for trains, you know that. Right?
Is this the bit where BB drives over the police cars as well? Like he's there to meet Meatloaf, and he drives over the police cars, and that comes to nothing. No, absolutely nothing.
He just drives straight into some police cars.
He sort of grinds over the top of one of them, and then just comes to a stop.
Apparently, at that point, you can see a ramp that they've put in.
Probably.
I didn't want to watch it back, but they did that in a shit way. But
they land in wherever it is they've landed.
Austin. Is this not Austin, Massachusetts? Boston, Massachusetts. Austin, Texas.
I don't know.
It was.
But they're not in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Which is big, though. So
this film has broken me.
Texas anyway. So.
I was begging for a Lady Barn this week. This is
it's only because you had to watch it at maximum
I did have to watch it at normal speed. Yeah, because Rachel wanted to see Alice Cooper. So I had to watch the whole movie at normal speed for 2.5 minutes of Alice
How old
Cooper.
is she?
16.
At this point we cut to Corpus's, so that's his dad, his motorised armchair with a whole bucket of beers on the back.
Yeah,
actually that keeps getting better and better. I'm a big fan of props.
The thing he's watching on TV says nobody dies for comedy anymore, except in this film, I would argue.
BB Muldoon and Alice Pooh. I think BB Muldoon's got like a neck brace on or something at this point to signify
the crash.
The crash, but then it's never mentioned again after that. And him and Alice Pooh are sort of fooling around a bit, I think, at this point. I can't remember.
I know, I didn't really get the point of that. I thought the whole point of
was
they were going to go out and get him and then there would be no
I think it was so that Redfish had to come home for the wedding. I think that's what it was.
Ultimately it was.
High stakes.
Yeah.
Meatloaf's eaten a few high stakes. They land in this, and Meatloaf's like, "No, I'm going home. I don't want to do this anymore. I've got a family and a business and a job." And she starts crying.
Yep.
Lower, and he says the classic line, "Why are you crying? I didn't hit you or anything."
Yeah.
Jesus, Meatloaf.
Alabama man. Yeah. And he accepts being Mohammed Johnson's good look white man. And I thought this is just too exploitative. To just
but of who's being exploited? Everybody. At this point, they stay in a hotel room. She tells him that she is 16.
Yep.
And
she's saving herself for Alice Cooper.
She's saving herself for Alice Cooper. Which makes it what happens in a bit all the more weird. We see Peter Frampton in the background, so that's exciting. If you like Peter Frampton, everybody in the world had Frampton Comes Alive. If you lived in the suburbs, you were issued it. And they send Lola and Meatloaf to go and pick up soap powder.
Yeah.
And some equipment, I think. Oh, a wireless microphone and soap powder. Which sounds like my drunk shopping.
Can either of you two confirm as they leave in the hotel, were the Blues Brothers in the background? Did you spot these two? There was there's a skinny one and there's a fat. Was it the Narcs?
Yeah,
they were right. Okay, because I was kind of like, that is like what?
Shameless.
Yeah. Right. Okay, but it's the Narcs.
I didn't pick up on that, but if that was the case, I was stopping this now because I'm not endorsing that level of shit. I can put up with plagiarism, but not shit out copying.
I don't understand how the washing powder becomes Coke and then the Coke gets switched.
Right.
I want to explain what
washing powder that they pick up with the man at the docks is Coke already. But Lola's like, oh, I need to go and wash all my smalls. Being a teenage girl. So he goes, oh, okay, fair enough. We'll stop in to the laundrette on the way back. And then she puts it in the washing machine and she's like, this isn't foaming up properly. An old lady comes along and is like, oh, let me test it. Eats some of it. Standard testing procedure for soap powder, obviously. And he's like, this is fucking ching. I'm having some of this. So she swaps it. And she goes, oh, that's frothing up lovely now. And the old lady leaves and Meatloaf goes, thanks, old lady. And she says, that's what old ladies are for. And I was like, I love her.
But
my question is, how did they pay for this
I'm
coat? Was it laundered money?
I was going to say, I'm assuming it's all on account, but I didn't know this was set up for a joke. Sorry.
It's all right.
The Narcs come in and they are obsessed with that because they think, oh, that's Coke.
Yeah,
they start patting Meatloaf down, but Meatloaf has no sensory function below his waist, so he doesn't realise he's being frisked up, and there's a conversation going on.
At this point, Lola has told him that she's a virgin, and Meatloaf can't believe that because he's never met a virgin
you're 25.
Before. Yeah. And the Narcs come in and there's this like three-way conversation thing where they're still talking about being a virgin, they're talking about drugs, and it's quite funny, but it goes on for about 3 minutes.
That's the problem with it,
and it's kind of long.
Will you stop saying narc?
Yeah, it's who's on first?
Yeah.
They decide to test the cocaine in another way, not the old lady way. No. By snorting a fucking line of it. As you do. Standard drug. Not rubbing it into your gums. No. He realises that it's soap powder. They leave while he's spewing all this stuff up.
Yeah, he starts to throw up. Fine. That was funny.
Good fun joke. They leave. We get the B-52s on the soundtrack.
Not Meatloaf.
What it was?
Yeah, it was B-52s. It was Give Me Back My Man, I think.
All right, okay.
But the band in the back were not the B-52s.
The band in the back were the mimes and an airplane pilot. I had absolutely no idea what was going on.
It was the worst Warriors gang. It's the reject from the Baseball Furies and Neil from the Young Ones. For some reason, Big Mama Cass is in charge of this band, and she's like, no snow, no show.
Yep.
Ace goes to reprimand Lola for washing her clothes. Meatloaf breaks his fucking hand, and then harasses the band in a plane by like chasing them on stage and sitting there while they play.
Yeah.
He also breaks an aluminium pipe, which is quite easy actually.
Yeah, that's like wrestling pipes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a standard chair at a wrestling match.
They play a song and Lola is trying to leave or she's upset or something. And Meatloaf sees her, picks up on Meatloaf sees her, picks up a microphone, and they have this weird song at each other. Where he's like, I'm sorry, and she's like, no. And then everyone joins in, and everyone's having a fucking whale with all these new wave kids pogoing around.
Even though it doesn't
very avant-garde.
It doesn't gel. It's supposed to be like dialogue to the background of music. It's very yes, no sort of thing.
Yeah, but at the end, like Neil on the keyboard, she's going, yes, no. It's like, also, why have we got a new wave band when we've had country and western? Who's booking this tour?
This Johnson, mate.
I've written here the Satin Overground.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. Thanks. It's better than any of the shit they came up with.
Oh, wait until we meet Snow White later on.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I was like, how is this a thing? And then an earthquake happens.
Oh, she senses it. And I thought, how has she sensed an earthquake? But no, that's a thing that'll be picked up later on. So
yeah.
I didn't even realise that. She said, yeah, there's an earthquake. No one mentions that again.
Nope.
Everyone's okay as well.
LA, isn't it? So I think it's
Yeah, I
true.
guess.
That happens over there, doesn't it?
They're
Them
in
and
the
their
ho-
earthquakes.
They're in
Stupid
Lola's hotel room. She is preparing the biggest salad we've ever seen.
Big salad.
The big salad. That's right.
It's fucking huge. Meatloaf's flicking through the telly. He's watching wrestling. He tries to grab her fanny at one point. That's British fanny, not American fanny.
Yeah.
Sadly.
It means you minge.
The wrestling that's on
Scott
TV,
Jack.
by the way. Wrestling on TV. Southwest Championship Wrestling. is what
Yes.
it was.
All right. Excellent.
Looked it up.
Yeah. It was Crockett, I think, wasn't it? But yeah. He then tries to have sex with her.
He wants to do a sex.
He wants to do one sex.
It's just awful.
By throwing her on the bed
bad.
and then trying to belly splash her like big fucking daddy. And she rolls out of the way and he's like, no, I'm saving myself for Alice Cooper. And then,
Also a bad decision.
I mean,
A 50-year-old man. Yeah.
50 if he's a day in this, isn't it? Like, and then Meatloaf being, I'm a nice guy, kicks the fuck out of the telly and leaves because he can't get a sex off a girl that
And he's going back to his room because his telly works.
he can watch wrestling there.
Yeah.
Pick that big salad up and eat that. You whore. Yeah. He seems to say with his eyes.
He gets so angry that he then goes down to the pool where people are faffing about with a vending machine. So he just picks up the vending machine and
hoys it in
puts
the
everyone
water
by throwing it into the pool.
It hoys it and gets water on it. I think the drummer from Blondie is sat there.
Yeah.
Yes, with the newspaper. Yeah.
And everyone knows you don't get water on the drummer from Blondie after midday. The next show is another country show, but the mayor has outlawed it due to an energy crisis.
Yeah. So, right, how have they gone from one little camper van full of equipment to this, we got a big-assed convoy across the USA full of all this stuff?
It's
Mohammed
I can only assume Mohammed Johnson has sorted it out.
Yeah, it's something like Mohammed Johnson's Circus. I remember seeing on a poster or something.
Rock and roll fun time
extravaganza,
lady circus.
Better film.
Mohammed Johnson's Lady Circus. Starring Leroy Pipe.
Is it a Rick Wakeman concert next? Because there's all this sweet ass keyboard action.
No, because this is the really bizarre thing. Because there's cops there. Mohammed Johnson tears up the bill saying that they can't play. And Meatloaf's he's on the phone with his dad saying I miss you, I'm going to come home. And his dad gives him just the right amount of inspiration that he needs by don't fall for the bullshit or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, doo-doo-doo, light bulb moment. BB and Alice Pooh are basically going at each other behind the back of the dad's wheelchair. He's like an owl. He can only turn in 360 degrees.
No, that'd be horrible.
And then Meatloaf's going, oh no, wait, hang on, I've got an idea. We can make the show go on. And then because they keep saying solar power as well, but it's not.
They make a contraption that doesn't make sense. So they burn the bullshit, which then reflects off some mirrors that they've got, even though heat, light, don't know. And then that powers a wind turbine. I felt like it wasn't supposed to make sense. It's like the lemon and potato contraption he comes up with later. Is it
supposed to be
a Heath Robinson contraption?
It's like Mousetrap, is what it is.
Yeah,
yes.
it's a what do they call those machines?
Good question. I have done it before on 100 Things.
But it feels like it's supposed to be one of those things. I thought he just basically built a very small generator.
It would have been great on Scrap Heap Challenge.
He wouldn't. He'd have tried to do one sex with that blonde lady and then been kicked off. So they're all collecting this poo. They burn it in a thing, and everyone's dead happy. Blondie come on, the actual Blondie, and play Ring of Fire.
Yeah, again, not doing their own song. Blondie are fucking brilliant, right? And were absolutely amazing at this time.
Yes.
And they do a Johnny Cash number.
And it's just...
You think for legal reasons they couldn't do their own material?
Possibly. I don't even legally think anyone should have been there.
It did feel like people just showed up. Do you want to be in the film? Yeah, all right. We've got a couple of hours to go.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately for Blondie, they were in quite a lot of the film.
The
it
next
felt
section
very grating on their nerves by the end of it.
It's Blondie heavy. So they're playing this song. Mohammed Johnson comes on stage and says, I'd like to introduce you to the man who's made all this possible. Meatloaf sat up top of some scaffolding, swinging his little baby legs. And yelling at Lola for being a whore, basically. Even though she isn't. She knocks on a lot of doors and goes, I'm going to go and inspire them.
Yeah, does that mean blowjob?
That's
I
what
think
I
it
thought.
does.
Oh, just wanking them off. Oh, but then when we find out that she's psychic, is she going in and going, C major is a good chord? Like,
Is she going, Wolverine, bring me a pizza?
yeah, like it's. I assumed it was wanking people off. Yeah. Whatever. And he's having to go at her for being like, this isn't what you want. You should be with me. And she's like, no, I'm happy. Mohammed Johnson introduces him. He falls off this scaffolding. Must be a good 20 foot.
Yeah.
Through the stage. Gets helped up. Concussed again. That's 2 blunt force traumas in 3 days, right? Like, if he's not getting that thing that American footballers get, or Chris Benoit, then I understand Lola's reticence to hang out with him because he'll murder her.
Is he going to shoot himself in a hotel room somewhere?
Again, these are all options available to Meatloaf at this time. He gets up, everyone's like, yay! And then he has to leave to do more dangerous driving.
He's in what they call a brain lock again. It's his signature thing of when he goes.
Oh, because he keeps doing things like, who would win in a fight between a deodorant and an Alaskan bear and stuff. And I'm like, is this funny?
Yeah, it needs like a kind of like
because it
weird
reminds
punchline to that, but
it's
it
that
never
bit
has
from
one.
like extras, isn't it? It's like, would you rather have your legs cut off or one arm? It's them bullshit things that people do because they haven't got a personality. He leaves.
Yes.
Yeah, it just annoys me because people do it and it's like neither.
The other man,
Richard Herring's was good. Would you rather have a hand made of ham or an armpit that dispenses infinite sun cream? That's a good question. The ham regenerates over time, and you can get enough to coat you and your family out of there in one go. So you can't manufacture it or anything.
Anyway.
Yeah, Blondie steal him, don't they? Blondie put him in the back of their limo.
They do, but when he goes off stage, there's another man with wings on his...
That's the man from before.
The guy from earlier.
Yeah, he collapses on stage for no reason.
No, he comes on and starts doing a bit.
And then Bird,
Bird
comes on, and Bird, who is... He's not only the worst character, I think he's the worst actor in it. He starts saying something. He starts saying... In 7th grade, I used to be real funny. I'd say, Judy, 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 Judy. And then the audience just fucking pelts him with stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's
it's
a
so
good
deserved.
joke. That's the classic Judy, Judy, Judy routine.
Now, my question here is, surely they should have got Meatloaf on to thank him before the gig. Because there's nobody coming on after him. It's like that Woodstock 99 thing where they promised that somebody was coming on after Fred Durst, and it wasn't. It was just a fucking video of...
The 1975, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is going on?
Contemporary joke.
They're in the Meatloaf's... they're in the back of Blondie's limousine being driven around, and we get some of the worst ad-libbed dialogue. I assume it was ad-libbed, because there's no way Blondie were like... No, we'll
that scene, yeah.
Because whatever he's on, I'll have $10 worth. I'll have $20. I carry a knife.
But what did he looked terrible on this video camera? He looked like he was turning into the guy in that first X-Men movie who they turn into water.
The senator,
that's what he looked like.
He had a look of it was this whole bit, and it goes on for ages.
I'm in the nadir of my career.
Yeah.
I would do anything, but I won't do this. That's
well. Mohammed Johnson says that he's inspired to run for president. He wants to be the first black president. And then Ace says that he worked for Spiro Agnew.
Yep.
Right.
He wants Redfish to be his campaign leader.
Yes.
Because at this point, nothing fucking matters, does it? Like, at this point, they're just throwing shit out there.
You know what, though? That would have had more of a plot than this. So fair enough if they'd done a film about it. And then they go to a swing bar with Debbie Harry.
Yeah, all of Blondie are being cheeky rascals setting fire to tablecloths. Everyone looks about 47 years old in this place.
Did you spot what it was? It was the Salesman of America conference. And for some reason, they were selling tyres. There's a lot of kind of tyres with fake
it's like
wheels.
a Hunter S. Thompson plot.
That would explain that big pile of tyres. Because I've got
right.
why is there a big pile of tyres?
That's the one.
Meatloaf and Debbie Harry's chatting up Meatloaf, and she's like, once they were outlaws, and now, and I'm like, Debbie Harry, shush. Like, I love you, but
absolutely stunning. The top of her powers, talented, fantastic.
I think she's there at the end. She does like
Cheekbones
a,
you could put cheese
been
on.
on the road too long sort of thing.
How many drugs did they pay her with for this?
I
Is
can
all
just
like-
You
rest
could just
of
sense the
Blondie wanted it.
tiredness in her
Yeah.
voice at this point. She's like, I just want to be done with this
Yeah,
film.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Go home.
Yeah. They promised
other
me
lad was
meatloaf.
watching.
I thought it was dinner.
Yeah. Lola comes in. She's knocked on the door of a camper that has Snow White written on it,
Oh,
which I assume was a band. You know, I think there
Yeah.
was a band called Snow White.
I still don't
probably about
understand
drugs.
what that was.
She comes in surrounded by small people, little people.
how far away are they?
Yeah. We're Bolton. We're in like clown outfits though, like velour, shiny satin
It was
clown
in like
outfits.
a dressing gown, yeah.
No, it was like a tracksuit, I think, with Snow White written
The
across it.
quality on mine wasn't as good as the German version.
You're all in lederhosen on yours. And yeah, I don't know what this. Were they a band? Were they like a I mean, I'm not saying there isn't a band. You know, Peter Dinklage was in a punk band, but
Was he?
yeah, in his college years.
But so all these bands that were there quite blatantly hadn't been on. Were Blondie opening this gig? Because that would be astonishing if so. Blondie
come
were the
on.
support for Snow White.
Oh, but they had to put risers on the stage for Snow White because you couldn't see him otherwise. Yeah,
It was
she
just
stopped.
one of those things where it was just like, and here's another fucking thing. It wasn't like a set-up joke. It's just full of that. It's
It was
a
just
kaleidoscope
It was
of
just
garbage.
midgets. Great, that's a joke, isn't it? Meatloaf tells Lola he's going home, he's had enough, and he doesn't want anything to do with Debbie Harry either. The fool. So she stomps off, and one of the midgets sits down with Debbie Harry and is like, "Hey," and I was like, okay. Lola stomps off, Meatloaf chases her, throws a tyre at her, and he's like, I'm going back to Texas. I don't want to do this
They
anymore.
both start throwing tires at one point, you know. Like
And she goes, no, I need to go to New York to meet Alice Cooper. And he's like, right, we're fucking doing that then. And she's like, what? He said, right, come on. He drags her. Next day, we're in New York.
I liked this bit. I like this because it's
Where he just
sort of-
dragged her around.
where he dragged her through 1980s New York City, which clearly they hadn't like prepared in any way. So it was just it's there, it's extemporary New York City.
It was
Being
authentic.
the fucking weirdest it could possibly be. There was something on in the background. There was a porno theatre that just showed a film called Hot Child. I shit you not. That was in the background.
Is it starring Lola Bouillabaisse?
When you
And then there's
mentioned
just weird, shitty characters in the background. It
you
looks
mentioned
sketchy as fuck.
authentic, and I knew it was an authentic New York City because the Twin Towers were still there.
Yeah.
And it's always jarring. It's still really jarring to see the Twin Towers in stuff from before the before
Also,
the sun.
lots of people jostling about.
Jostling,
Go to a car park and
panhandlers.
there's like shit
Yeah.
going on there. I'm like, what? is
Loads of
happening?
homeless
mate.
beggars, right?
Yeah.
And,
I haven't eaten for 3 days.
they, of course they were still there because it was before Rudy Giuliani had all the homeless
all
people
killed.
murdered. You know, so.
They get to the whatever it is, the Roxy that Alice Cooper is playing, and he drags her in, and he's like, "Right, here you go, I'm off now." And then everyone's like, "Hang on, that's Travis Redfish, the best roadie in the business."
Word
Alice
gets
Cooper-
around.
Yeah, well, Mohammed Johnson, you know, his voice is so low it travels like a blue whale's.
Well, actually, Lola does talk to some of the press while he's prepping his thing to beat the energy clamp down on rock music. Or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, she does. Yeah, well, she's wearing that weird like jester's outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll say is
Like
that there
fucking
was a
Elton
trend.
John.
There was a trend in the 80s to blame sort of environmental regulation on things.
Like Al Gore.
Ghostbusters is probably the most prominent example of it, where they're
Of course,
shut down
yeah.
from and all the spirits get released because of the EPA or whatever it was.
Yeah, the Environmental Protection Agency. Yeah.
But
So that's another one of that. That's just another way that this film
All right,
is really
right,
shitty.
Yeah, just rips off other things that hadn't happened yet.
Well, you know,
That's because
Ghosts,
it was.
she is psychic. So
oh
maybe.
God, so she keeps telling us.
Yeah, so he has to hang around and fix stuff by like putting potatoes, like making like a potato clock, like you do in primary school, and
and he
all the
also
weird
forces
shit.
Cooper to commit to sleeping with a 16-year-old, and he agrees and says that I never break a promise. And I
he
think
bullies him into that, and I'm like, your arm was right up behind your back there, weren't it, Coop?
Yeah.
I call him Coop, not to his face, obviously. Yeah, Alice Cooper shows up, and he goes, "There you go, do what you want with her. I'm off." And he's like, no, let's go for dinner. Let's go for an early dinner. And Meatloaf goes, dinner?
Oh, after he's fought his way through all those balloons that are there.
Yeah,
Alice
Cooper
Cooper did. I found an interview where he talks about this film, and he said, "Well, actually, no. Our shows in those days, a roadie would have loved to have been on those shows. There was so much going on. They had balloons.
Oh, not balloons.
They had a snake. They had a big red codpiece like Cameo.
But so Meatloaf leaves because he refuses to do it, gets through all the balloons, and then they send all these New York cops to go after him. But disappointingly, not a single Irish one amongst them.
Spinning his stick. They drag him back. He agrees to fix all this stuff. They go out for dinner, but Lola's too shy to speak to Alice Cooper. Yeah. So she whispers in him that she wants him to bring the snake and wear the leathers and all this stuff and the face paint. And he's like, fine. So they then have the most awkward dinner ever. Because imagine trying to eat like spaghetti hoops with a fucking python like everywhere.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Its fangs are perfect for stacking a load of hoops on and running off.
Onion rings.
Slithering off. Yeah.
There would have been a good emu routine there. Yeah.
God bless him. They should bring that back.
What was he doing on the roof?
I am him.
Green jelly.
Where is my... Roadie do well, did it? Getting a second series.
No. Who is this for?
The 3 people that remember Fist of Fun.
3 people on this podcast.
He's like, okay, you have to give her like front row seats and then you can do her. Again, he's pimping out a child now. Yeah. Lola's gone full goth. She's got Alice Cooper makeup on. He's sat on a chair in the aisle, which is a fire safety hazard. And the show's going off. They're doing a song, one of the worst, I say not one of the worst Alice Cooper songs. They're all pretty terrible. But it's called
Pain, I think it's called.
Let's have a sandwich or something. Yeah, it was it was all about I want to eat a sandwich. Yeah.
This, of course, was Madison Square Gardens, as we know. Very, very disappointed, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Thought it could have probably done with some baby Godzillas. Would have been a better film.
That was not Madison Square Gardens.
Yeah, Madison Square Gardens.
How did they... Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. After the show, more balloons fall, so some poor lads had to blow more balloons up than Meatloaf bombs. Having had a go on one of those machines when I used to work for the council, it's a terrifying experience.
Yes.
They never fully shut off in time, and you will get rubber in your eyes.
I had to do that for the card factory, and people would hand me the balloon to then blow up. So it was very obvious when I'd blown that one up, not only from the massive bang that it goes from upstairs, but I'd have to go back past them to pick up another one.
My secret shame.
That was bad.
Can we move this display upstairs, please? And he's like, right, now you've done that for me. Alice Cooper, Coop. Redfish. Meatloaf is like, I'm going to go home now. I'm going to take the bus home. Alice Cooper's like, nah, thanks for the help and the child. I'll buy you a bus.
Does he say thanks for the help and the child?
No, he doesn't say thanks for the help and the child. At the dinner, he says, if you come and help us out, I'll buy you a bus home.
Yes, yeah.
Why not a car? Because the gas mileage is going to be better on that, isn't it? But whatever. Meatloaf likes buses. He gets on his bus that has Texas or bust written on the side. Lola's like, no, you need to stay and we can tour together and stuff. And he's like, no, my best friend and my sister / mum are getting married. Yeah.
Texas, isn't it?
Texas justice. I have to drive this bus now from New York to Texas.
Bye. Anyway, cuts to...
He said, have fun shagging Alice Cooper. Bye.
Yeah, really weird, phantasmagoric Texan wedding scene. Cue, go, now. Everything happening at once.
BB's drunk.
He's fucking leathered.
Yeah, he can't stand up drunk. There's a minister there. The thing is, do you swear before Texas, God, and the law? And I'm like, that's not the order.
Is that Texas God? Or Texas?
Oh my God.
Texas God, open wide for some chili.
Texas Pete from Super Ted is there as well.
I mean, Mark, that was a better accent than what most of these people were capable of doing.
Yeah, and one point is Alice Pooh. Is she has she got one of those mouths that goes all the way backwards? Does her head...
Like Mr. Flip Top Head.
That's exactly right. Yeah. What is going on with her?
That's a reference for nobody, yeah.
I was thinking Zippy from Rainbow, but yeah.
Very much so,
yeah.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Gina Davis in Beetlejuice.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Lots of examples.
That's one everybody gets.
Her dad can't get behind this wedding because his son's not there, or something.
But
I don't know.
he's put a little top hat on, though.
Yeah.
But he's squirting people or something with a little gun.
Oh,
or
he's got
something.
beer. He's got beer out of a keg, is what that is.
Always a bad thing.
Yeah, it's
Alice
Daddy,
Pooh goes
are you
past him and
squirting
says,
women or are you coming to my wedding? You're always watching the TV.
"Would you rather squirt girls and watch TV?"
Yeah. Yes.
He's like, I just need to watch this wrestling match, I think he says, isn't it?
Yes. He wants
Yeah.
he wants to know the result. There's some sort of sport.
Yeah. Meatloaf shows up
Kama
just as
Sutra sport.
24 hours. Meatloaf shows up in his truck just as the vows are done. They release BB. He crashes to the floor. Alice Pooh does like a Lily Tomlin. Like she just, I'm married now. That's the last we see of that. Doesn't matter. Meatloaf goes in to speak to his dad. His dad gets him a beer from his special chariot that he has. And he's like, oh, well, thanks for coming home, but you were having fun. The phone rings. They've got a phone box in their house, so Meatloaf answers it. And it's, what? Yeah, oh, okay. Can we have some privacy, please? His dad presses a button which pushes the Inspector Gadget-style phone box outside of the house.
Yeah, on this kind of this trivet. It's like Bill and Ted.
Yeah, it's very strange. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll come and get you. Turns out that it's Lola has decided not to shag Alice Cooper. She got scared.
She missed him. She was sad without him. All she was doing was thinking about him. Now, he set off 3 days ago to get to Texas. She's there, 2 hours after him?
She could have flown.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that one. Fine.
Yeah,
shit on my fucking chips. So I don't know.
No, because at the time I thought, I was like, how she got there? And then I was like, planes exist.
It doesn't explain why she's wearing an entire bear as a coat. Yeah.
Texas coat in it. Traps the cold air in.
Is that just roadkill that you just wrap around yourself or something?
Yes.
Listen, we'll all be doing it this winter.
Ooh, yeesh. Keep it light.
Contemporary joke number 2.
Topical, yep. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Hey!
And yeah, so he's like, oh, great, let's drive around in our truck. And she explains, she missed him. She couldn't do it with Alice Cooper because Viagra hadn't been invented at this point. And so Alice Cooper's snake didn't work. She couldn't feed his Frankenstein. It was poison. He does refer to her as a $1 million baby at one point, though, which made me go, hey!
Why did she fall on a chair? End up chewing off her own tongue at the end of the film. It's cheering, isn't it?
All right. And she's like, no, I'm not going to be. I ain't going to be a groupie no more. I'm going to be a sidekick. And I'm like, where has this come from? And Meatloaf's face says it as well. He's like, was this added at the last minute? Have I suffered another concussion? And he's like, okay, fair enough. And then blinding white light hits them, and I thought, oh, is it like Grease and they've died and then this is them going to heaven? No, it's not. Lola says, it's aliens and their ship needs fixing. And Meatloaf turns to the camera and says, oh, did nobody get it?
No.
Why is my life so much tougher than everybody else's?
He needn't worry, because objects in the rearview mirror may appear closer than they are.
That's not the song. He is a real dead ringer for love. He is Meatloaf. He's got a lot of nerve to come over you. And that's the end of the film. It just ends there.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways that felt very quick because I was like, oh, I just know what this is. I didn't need to skip through it. I just needed to not stop it to make any notes because it was...
Yes. There's a lot of stuff not happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot
huge
of driving
swathes of minutes upon minutes with no notes.
But I will give this one. I don't know. It was. I'm never going to watch it again.
Last week?
No, it wasn't worse than last week. At least it had some charm about it. It just felt like everyone was on coke and threw ideas into a hat. Like,
Yeah.
you know how the manatees write Family Guy? It felt like that. It felt like that. Like there was just too much going on with no real thought of fleshing out the scenes of it. So I'm going to give it 1 silver Snow White little person.
I don't know about so. I'm going to give it. I feel like 2 bronze. I think I gave 2 last week, and I was being generous. And this is no better. This is no better a film. So 2 bronze. Limpid snakes.
Alice Phallus.
I'm going to give it a bronze big salad.
Oh, that's a lot
it
of
did have a
bronze,
big salad
and
in it.
that's
Fair
what it was.
enough.
There was jokes in there.
Yeah.
That's what old ladies are for. But then it also had problematic paedophilia, and at least I didn't hit you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Please keep that in. Please just record that and do that every week. Okay, so that was Roadie, 1980. Also in 1980, as I've said, Blues Brothers came out. We also had The Empire Strikes Back. 9 to 5, the film that spawned the TV series and the song. Airplane.
What break stuff?
It was filmed in Austin, LA, and New York on location and released to almost universal 1-star reviews across the board. The budget was estimated at $4.7 I don't know how to say that now. $4.7 million. And it made its money back. Just made its money back in worldwide sales. And I think they were expected it to be like The Animal House. That it wasn't.
Also, just because it made its money back, it means it lost money because it had been
pretty
promoted
much. Yeah, it's not
4.7 million's in 1980s money. It's like
that's 17 million today. It was a big
Yeah.
film,
Crazy.
big film. That's 4.5 million pounds. For that, you can get 5,858 signed Meatloaf guitars because they average about 2,500 on the listing price. Obviously, it depends on the guitar that it's written on. It's not worth the guitar it's written on.
did Meatloaf play guitar?
Doesn't matter. He
I
signed
thought he
it.
was more of a piano dude. Cause...
I think there's more guitars out there than he signed than he actually signed. But yeah. So because that doesn't sound very good.
Do you know it's a real Meatloaf phone when it's got a meatball rattling around inside it?
It would also buy you 2,636 Waitrose British beef meat loaves. I did.
Yes.
It probably would have been more if I would have been able to get any that were in stock from Aldi, but they weren't. And that's 1,465 metric tons of meat, as far as I'm aware.
That's what you like people to call him. Meat. Apparently, yeah.
It won 2 awards, though, this film.
Really?
It won Worst Supporting Actress for Rhonda Bates as Alice Pooh. And
She's in it for like 5 minutes.
It's a bit
and
harsh.
still won an award. And Lola was played by Kaki Hunter, who won Most Annoying Fake Accent at the 1980 Stinker Awards. There you go.
Also, she's called Kaki Hunter.
The Stinker
Yeah,
Awards they no longer exist. So who had the last laugh there?
Yeah.
Too stinky.
I think they not probably sent it to the Razzies, which I'd fucking
I'd
hate
have
as
thought
well.
Okay, some facts about this one that I was able to glean from IMDb. Travis W. Redfish's house at the beginning is the same house used in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We noted that one. I think the bar as well, where all the massive fight happens, is Art Carney's house. They just ran out of locations at that point.
What?
Yeah. I know it doesn't
That
look
Carney's
like
got a
house.
country and western club in his house.
That's how he died. The writers...
He died doing what he lived. Putting on the good old boys.
The writers intentionally set it up for a sequel, which would have featured Travis helping the aliens repair their ship so they could return home, which just sounds like...
I mean, I want to see that now.
I mean, it just feels like that bit in The Life of Brian where they get souped up.
Yes.
Yeah. It's that. It's pretty much that. The filmmakers also intended to show the spaceship at the movie's ending, but the cable holding the ship snapped during a test, and the expensive prop was destroyed.
Yep.
I kind of wish that had been in, because it would have looked so shit.
I can imagine it being like a Button Moon style washing up liquid bottle.
Quote unquote expensive prop.
Yeah.
Just on a little stick, you know.
He spent $3 million on that and the rest on coke. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It was directed by Alan Rudolph from last time. He did the Naked Barn, Kenneth, or whatever. It was co-written by James Big Boy Medlin, who was the founder of E! Entertainment. And as I said before, it was based on a regular column in a paper. It was co-written... Oh, go on.
No. He's called James Big Boy Medlin. Guess what you're getting called from now on?
Fact in. Big Boy Fatlin.
New jingle coming in. It's Big Boy Medlin Facts.
It was co-written with his partner, Michael Ventura, and pornographer Zalman King. I think it was erotica that he made, but there's the page for him on Wikipedia has some legitimate films he was in, and then the rest are sort of like redded out because they're bad links because it's definitely porn.
Right.
Yeah, Alice Cooper from the Inside series in 2016. He's got this little series on YouTube I discovered, From the Inside. He sort of watches the film, 5 minutes of it that he's in, and he described it ambitiously as scripted and said that they were. He said that there were even rehearsals at 7 a.m, 6 a.m.
What?
He also said that he befriended Meatloaf as a result, and two of them stayed in touch. For the time, he said, pretty cool rock and roll movie. It wasn't. It wasn't cool.
I mean, to be fair, it's no worse than like Rock and Roll High School.
Yeah.
Like
I
in
think-
terms of,
I think that it would have benefited from the Ramones being in this.
I mean, anything benefits from the Ramones being in it,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like,
But, yeah.
Arguably, there's
They-
more of a story in Rock and Roll High School.
yeah, and you've got like PJ Souls and stuff.
Anyway, it was the first movie that Alice Cooper and Meatloaf were both in. Second time would be in Wayne's World, 92, 12 years late.
We're not worthy.
Christ, yeah.
Yeah. Roy Orbison, so yeah, he somehow was in it, playing the
Old
character Roy
Randy
Orbison. According to Peter Lehrman in Roy Orbison, The Invention of an Alternative Rock Masculinity, Orbison's contribution to the soundtrack of Roadie seemed to me the overlooked turning point in his 80s comeback, which ended in 98 with death.
It's hard to come back from that. It's not Jesus.
Mohammed Johnson.
What's his contribution to this? Him farting on a snare drum.
Don Cornelius played Mohammed Johnson. He had a long-running show called Soul Train, which
Soul
sounds a little bit like
Train.
Jazz Club. Nice.
No, it was sort of that,
Yeah.
but it was for
Yeah, it
Yeah, it's like
featured
the
Aretha
disco
Franklin,
kind of thing. Yeah.
Whitney Houston, other emerging black artists.
it was the famous one where they get a corridor and you dance down the corridor.
Is it
That's
that?
the Soul, yeah, that's the Soul
I
Train.
didn't know that. Ah, that's cool. He later had it's one of those ones where you say something nice like that, and then the next fact is just so horrible. He later had a chaotic and troubled life and died by suicide around the same time as Whitney Houston. He was also responsible for Nutty Professor 2, The Club.
That is a roller coaster, isn't it, boys and girls?
Maybe that's why he killed himself.
Did it have anything to do with Norbert?
Lola, as I said before, played by Kaki Hunter. She starred in the Porky series of films, which I've not seen, but I think they were very popular.
They're sex comedies. They're not great.
Yeah, I think she's sort of famous for a shower scene. I was looking for an actual interview with her, but she wants nothing to do with this or any of her last work. She quit acting a few years later to take up whitewater rafting and building eco homes, and I feel sure that she could be cast as a mum in a Hallmark film.
Yeah, let's start a petition. Bring Kaki back.
What,
Make
the
America
actress
crack
or the
again.
shoes? Or the
I'm
shorts?
bringing- No, we'll do it to the tune of Sexy Back. I'm bringing Kaki back. She's possibly in the 30 years learnt how to act. See, it makes itself this.
It's good, it's good. Ace was played by Joe Spano. He had
Spano.
serious acting roles in Frost Nixon, also Apollo 13, and he also starred in The Brotherhood of Justice, 1986, which is about a group of high school students led by rich boy Derek who are sick of school violence and start an underground vigilante group, Brotherhood of Justice,
Oh,
which sounds
no.
like it will prolong school violence, but yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
only way to
future
stop
episode.
violence is with more violence.
It's starring Keanu Reeves and Kiefer Sutherland, so that's
You've got to
big
provide your own pillowcase.
It makes me feel like a big man.
He was also in Warlock Moon in 1973.
Oh.
Is
I
that a
don't know why
sequel
we-
to Warlock?
I don't know why we attract Warlock. There was a spate of Sinbad films, and now it's Warlock. So
Oh, mate, if Warlock Moon's a sequel to Warlock, then we have to do Warlock at some point.
I don't think it is. It is 1973 though, so it's the era.
Oh, no,
Um,
Warlocks.
So, Meatloaf, I won't go into Meatloaf's whole story, but because that would take fucking ever. Meatloaf also starred as a bus driver in Spice World movie.
He did?
After
Not his biggest crime.
After Frank Bruno dropped out because he didn't get any signed autographs, according to Mirror. While starring in the film, Meatloaf apparently bummed a $5 off Mel B. It later emerged that he got the job after he joked about wanting to appear in the film, and his agent just went ahead with it.
I mean, if you wanted to edit that Wikipedia to a $5, just remove that. He just bummed Mel B.
Crab paste.
To be fair, like I rewatched Spice World not so long back. Don't judge me.
What do you mean rewatched?
Because my sister was of that age, isn't it? And so I had to
No,
watch and stuff. And it's like, you go, it's terrible. It is still terrible, but there is something quite naive and charming about it.
There is charm. I think there's charm. It's got Roger Moore in it, for God's sake. Richard E. Grant.
A woman.
Yeah.
Richard, there's loads of cameos in it as well.
What spice did you think was in the film?
Old.
Roadie was not his first film. He had appeared the year before in Americathon, which is a story told in narrative flashbacks. A young TV consultant is hired by the president of a bankrupt America to organize a telethon in order to prevent the country from being repossessed by wealthy Native Americans.
What?
That sounds like it's going to be very racist.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. So 1979.
Mickey Rooney, one of the Native Americans.
Spazzed all my wampum on a horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say a marathon as well.
Fact out of hell.
I can understand why a lot of people love it because it has that thing of being camp and sort of culty.
Also, yeah, if you slightly remember it from like when you were a teenager.
Yeah, if you probably watch it now, you'd be this isn't great. But Plain and Simple, Bad by Hellfell7924 in March 2005. The first look on the cover of this picture, it looks like a good rock and roll movie. But don't let the cover fool you, or the fact that Alice Cooper and Blondie is in it. The storyline is just horrible, and the acting is also.
And my grammar, too.
Plain and simple, bad. So they've copy and pasted that. It's not a movie about a roadie. It's just a thin love story. It's the only thin thing in this, Meatloaf. So awful that you see right through it. The only good thing about this movie, you just said there was nothing good about this movie. Make your mind up, Hellfell7924. The only good thing about this movie is the soundtrack. Some good songs, and that is why I gave it 2 out of 10 stars. If it wasn't for the music, it would have been 0 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean,
Meatloaf.
all over the place, though. Sorry, Hellfell, but it was like Roy Orbison, and then the B-52s, and then Blondie doing a Ring of Fire, and
yeah. And then what was it? The Saturn Overground. Yeah, like it's a fucking nightmare. Yeah.
Carry on, Hellfell.
It was the worst booked tour. I've played gigs like that where it's just you and like a shoegaze band and 2 guys with keyboards, and it's just no one's having a fun time because it's Meatloaf, 2 words, is a horrible actor. At least he was in 1980. So they followed his career and were like, he's all right in Fight Club and Spice World. And the girl who plays the groupie isn't even good looking. Debatable.
Bit harsh, yeah.
I mean, let's see you, Hellfell7924. Put your face out there. This movie was a huge disappointment to me because it makes a lot of good promises. I don't really think it did. It's got Meatloaf in it. It's got Blondie in it. It's got Kaki. We're trying to bring Backy. It's fine.
Roy Orbison and his 2 goons.
Hired goons. Yeah, it is a weird one because I don't think it's that bad. I think if you were at a party and someone put this on, everyone was drinking, I think you'd have a laugh with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not obnoxiously bad. They tried to make a fun sex rock and roll film, but
they put a 16-year-old in it. Well,
I mean,
they put a 25-year-old in it, but yeah,
disguised as a 16-year-old.
Yeah,
disguised as a school. She really is a shit. In conclusion, that was 1980s Meatloaf vehicle Roadie. Gentlemen, your favourite lines from the film?
In the 7th grade, I used to be real funny. I'd just say...
What you crying for? I didn't hit you, but you hit me in the heart.
You've got 10 minutes or I'm going to rape your career.
That's what old ladies are for.
Oh, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Anyone would think I'm really ungrateful for the opportunity to come on this every second week.